One of the greatest discoveries that I've had while being involved in business and in education is the power of grit. And I realized that before Barbara Duckworth's research, it was called other things. But I think that grit as a word really does capture it. And I think that people who use that word can understand it and can relate to the word. And even if they haven't had it explained to them in terms of research or a business case or a personal profile, they can kind of understand when someone says you've got grit, that it really does mean something to them. The word is not something academic, it's something real, it's not industry speak, it's something that sounds like something that'll get you through when things are tough. And I had the real privilege of interviewing, as part of our veteran stories, Colonel David Fivecoat, who through an incredible active service served in the military for a long period of time. Also served in Afghanistan with a senior leadership role. And he's written an incredible book called Grow Your Grit. I'm just hoping you can see that clearly on the screen. You can at least know it's orange. Grow Your Grit. There it is, looking beautiful. And what I'd love to do is just summarize some key thoughts from this book, Grow Your Grit, from Colonel David Fivecoat. And because I know that for those people who are always learning and leaders are readers, I know it's a trite saying, but it's actually very, very true. I do want to put up on the screen the website of Colonel Fivecoat's book and his consulting practice, and so that you can engage with him personally, grab a copy of his book and grab some of the other industry reports that he's written, and grab his weekly newsletter. It's just a phenomenal resource. And so when I was reading through this book, I had 5 or 4 days away last week, where this weekend coming up is Mother's Day in New Zealand. So I took the opportunity last weekend for 4 days to spend time with my amazing, beautiful, talented mother. And what she's done is bought a section and put some tiny houses, some portable houses together, and created a great community where our family can go and stay and relax and spend time together. And I had the privilege of just being with my mother by myself. So I spent some time away while we were sitting at the beach and having coffee, and up really early in the morning to do my exercise and not going to bed too late, to read through the book and particularly focus on 2 of the sections that I found very, very powerful. One of them was about personal grit, and the other was about organizational grit. And I just want to pull out some key points. And I'm sure, David, you don't mind that I'm sharing some of your wisdom, because I found it so profound. And I did message David a couple of weeks ago, and I said, David, I didn't realize when I interviewed you, I hadn't read your book, and I didn't realize that every single paragraph of your writing packs a punch. There's so much depth, there's so much content, so many words of wisdom, so many ideas there. You can read a chapter which is only 4 to 5 pages long and make a page or 2 full of notes in your own notebook. And this is my notebook. This is my learning notebook that I have. And these are my notes on Grow Your Grit, just the 2 sections, developing your personal grit and developing organizational grit. And I want to summarize that down so I don't take too long. We're already 4 minutes into this. So around personal grit, David makes it really, really clear that it's important to take a personal grit inventory or a grit quiz. So I did that, and I found out that I am a gritty person, but I've got areas of development that I need to focus on and build some accountability into my life to make sure that I am growing my grit, as per the title of his book, Growing My Grit. And the first one was to grow your grit using the quiz, and secondly, to examine my personal values and my purpose. And I did spend time thinking about that. So I had to think about it in terms of not trying to manufacture something new, but to really think about over the 50 years. Yes, I know I don't look 50. You're shocked, I know. But over the 50 years of my life, thinking, what are the things that I've done that most motivated me, where I've made strong decisions and strong actions and continued forward in certain developments or initiatives, particularly where it cost me something, and looked at those values, those decisions that I made based on my ethics, because ethics really are our behaviors based on our values. And so I examined those and I started writing out again, afresh, the values for the University of Applied Research and Development and why we do what we do. And on reflection, I can see that our decisions we've made as an organization are really around and focused on and built on the values that I have. So spending time talking to Associate Professor Danny Sims, looking at the values we have for our organization and thinking about, do they match us? Do they fit us? Are they not just mine? Are they part of the organizational values? And then how do they filter down? When I spent time talking with Associate Professor Todd DeVoe as well from emergency management, our emergency management faculty, looking at our institutional student learning outcomes, and then our program outcomes and our student particular outcomes for each course. Did they reflect our intentions and purposes as an organization? And do the values really reflect our purpose, not just me individually, but all of the faculty on the team? And so it's been very, very good to examine those values personally and as an organization, and then to communicate that to these great two individuals I'm blessed to have on our team. And then also to not only communicate that, but to build some accountability around that, so that as we move forward and we grow and continue to grow and increase our partnerships and our pathways and progressions for our students, that we stay true to our values. We don't sacrifice our values and our purpose for expediency or short-term wins, but we do keep ourselves accountable to those things we've written down and we've communicated to our students and our stakeholders, our partners in our community that we serve, and to continue to revisit that. And I loved that David mentioned repeatedly in Grow Your Grit, to revisit the goals, revisit communication, revisit accountability, and revisit the streaks of the habits and behaviors and wins that we've had, so that we build that accountability and that consistency and what we're doing personally and as an organization. And the part that really stood out in terms of building organizational grit was building the team. And I recognize that's an area of development for me, to build the team. Beautifully, last year, I had the privilege of leading a community development, being the director of community development in a needy and disadvantaged community here in New Zealand during multiple lockdowns due to COVID-19, 20, 21 and onwards. And so what that meant was that I got to build a team with the funding we developed and produce some initiatives in the community. And on reflection, the way that we built the team around that initiative and those values and purposes we had, I really need to pick up the building of our team again in the university in this fresh new world that we're in, given that the world is moving into this phase of living with COVID and living in this, I don't even think it's a new normal, it's just the normal we're working in now, navigating our way through the challenges and continuing to be gritty. So building that team and increasing our team and ensuring that everyone that joins our team is enculturated into understanding the values, the purposes, our outcomes we have as an organization and for the students in our programs of learning, understanding that before they make a decision to join. So that when they join our team, they already have the mindset, the perspective, this is where we're going. These are the values that underpin what we do. Because David mentions something else in this book, and it's a great chapter about the leader's intent. And he speaks about that from a military perspective. And I know that when I was leading an international school in Jakarta, I realized very quickly that not everyone was carrying the leader's intent, my intent, as the leader of an international school. And so that mandated me to, in hiring conversations, talk about values, expectations, pressures, and our intentions as an organization moving forward, so that the staff, when they joined us and made the decision to join our faculty, they could move forward knowing our purposes, knowing our values, knowing our intentions and my intentions, so they could operate autonomously and come back and do those after action reports, those discussions, so we could analyze, were we really in line with our intentions, our values, and our purposes? so that those decisions can keep being refined and keep on track. And we can keep being gritty, keep responding to challenges, keep getting up when we get knocked down, keep holding up each other, keep encouraging each other to go back to the values and the purposes, and interpersonally encouraging each other as well. So not only are we gritty as individuals, not only are we gritty as an organization, but we're gritty as a team in our relationships as well. So I'd love to just one more time pop up on the screen here David's website. And he's not paying me to say this. I just really want to honor David's work, his service. And David, if you're watching, thank you for your service. And thank you for writing this book that summarizes not only what you've learned and how you've led, but how you are learning and continuing to lead with organizations that you work with, and how you're putting that into practice, and the case studies that you've put into this. It's not a gigantic book, but it's certainly deep with a breadth of case study experiences that I have gleaned lots of wisdom from. So thank you, David, for your service. Thank you for your work. Thank you for what you're continuing to do. And for everybody else, I'm in little old beautiful New Zealand, and just jumped on and grabbed a copy of the book, and it arrived in a week, and I was able to start digesting it and share just some of these pearls of wisdom that are in the book that I found that I'm going to apply. I've already started to apply, and I'm going to continue to seek to apply with my team and with the organization as we go forward for the betterment of the communities that we serve going forward as well. So thanks for giving me your 11 minutes and 45 seconds. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your 2022. And right now, I get the opportunity to announce two things that, due to our grittiness as an organization, we've been able to push through and do. Number one, we are very, very thankful for our two awarding organizations, One Awards, and as part of the NOCN group in the United Kingdom that endorses all of our academic programs. We've also just become accredited as a learning centre with OTHM, a large awarding organisation in the United Kingdom that has government qualifications and direct pathways to master's degrees in UK universities. And secondly, we just secured a fabulous arrangement and agreement with a partner university in the United States, the Academy of Arts University, which has a range of campuses, has a partnership with Pixar, which has a Master of Fine Arts, Master of Design, which is really embedded technology, and if I'm not mistaken, was the very first university to adopt computer-aided design, and is now the leader in computer-aided design in terms of animation, graphic design, CGI, is really leading the world in terms of higher education and innovative computer-aided design, as well as traditional fine arts. And so now to have a partnership where our graduates from our Bachelor of Design can move to America and study with the Academy of Arts University, we are delighted that we kept pushing through and kept being patient to gain this partnership with this wonderful university and be able to share with them our wonderful graduates. So great celebration that we have these two wins. And I'm just delighted that I got to share this. Grow Your Grit from Colonel David Fivecoat. And I encourage you to grab a copy really, really soon. You will not regret it.